may be the most talked about quarterback, new starting quarterback during the offseason. He's definitely one of the most hyped up quarterbacks. And so I think it's natural for people to put a lot of expectation on him, a lot of, pressure added onto his back. I think it's very natural. So if we want to take it and look at it from an elementary level, I just want to talk about what do we truly want to see from Nico? What would be a successful 2024 season? Well, I think it starts in spring ball. I think it starts what do we want to see from him right now, and then what can he build on top of that? I think number one, and this may be a similar answer for a lot of these quarterbacks on the list, but number one, we want to see Nico take control of the team, offense and defense, right? We want to see his leadership take over. Now, that could look like vocal leadership. That could look like his leadership on the field, probably a little bit of both, right? But you want to see him take control of the team. You want to see his teammates look at him and know, okay, he's our guy. This is his first year being the guy. Last year, I think he was in camp early, but regardless, during the practices, during most of game prep, he was always the backup. So now he's trying to, be the guy during not just the games coming up, but he's taken on that role where he is now the guy during practice, during the offseason workouts, like during camp. And this is something that we can talk about for several of these quarterbacks. But I'm sorry, not during camp, but before camp, like during the offseason, coaches only have a certain amount of time they can be with you, right? And so I guarantee, even though he's now getting his receivers, he's now in pads throwing during spring ball, but they were running routes with each other during the offseason. And what coaches will do, at least with us in college, they would get in the press box, they'd give us a script to go through, whether it's the route tree, whether it's, hey, we're focusing on in routes, 2-minute drill, out routes, whatever it might be, and then they watch you go through the routes. So even though it wasn't technically mandatory practice, like those type of practices, they're still getting a lot of reps in with their skill players, right? So now you want to see that just transition to taking control of the whole team, right? And number two, I want to see connection with his wideouts. Now, I know what McCoy's hurt, right? Rehabbing an ankle, and you got White coming back, who's probably going to be your go-to guy, but you want to develop a relationship, develop a rapport with other guys. You want to see what other receivers kind of step up. You want to see what other receivers are able to maybe have a connection with Nico. I think now is the time to do it. Just like we talked about a minute ago, where they are getting on the same page, running the route tree. Now you're in camp. Eventually summer's coming up. You want to continue to do that and just get more and more reps, more and more experience. So I think that's kind of the main thing you want to see during this time now. You want to establish that rapport with your receivers. I think White's got the speed to take the top off the defense. I think he is a great receiver to lean on. But who else can you develop? Who else can Nico kind of connect with to help him be the guy, right? And number three, what I want to see during camp and what I think can really transition is getting the ball out quick. Just run the offense efficiently. How do you get the ball out quick? We got to understand the offense. You got to be able to read the defense. And that was something I think we saw in the bowl game, maybe struggled at times, right? Like I thought Nico played good in the bowl game. I thought he flashed against a pretty good Iowa defense. But it wasn't like he threw for 800. That's a pretty extreme example. It's not like he threw for 300 yards and 5 touchdowns thrown, right? I think he accounted for 178 yards of total offense, and he took 6 sacks. So there's room for improvement. Now, I put out a video about Nico, and we talked about the 6 sacks they took, and Tennessee fans were quick to remind me that yeah, but the offense, there are some offensive linemen out, and I get it, but at the same time, the ball has to come out quickly. You don't want to take 6 sacks. So there's obviously room for improvement. But with that said, I mean, the sky is the limit in my mind for Nico. He can make every throw. That's not even something we really talk about. He makes every throw. The athletic ability is there to escape pressure and also to be featured in the run game. We saw that against Iowa. I think all of his touchdowns came running the ball, if I'm not mistaken, right? So you saw that athletic ability. And so now I think the biggest thing that you just want to see in camp and you want to see progress is just run that offense efficiently, get the ball out quickly. Like Hendon Hooker, in my mind, ran that offense perfectly. I know Joe Milton had the cannon, but you have to be an accurate quarterback and get the ball out quickly. Get the ball to your receivers in space. Like a lot of these throws that Tennessee has, these like quick screen games. These kind of option screen games are either taking that quick throw or maybe there's a slant route going behind them. So I think now in spring ball is that perfect time to get that experience, right? So to kind of wrap up Nico and what you want to see from him during spring before you progress to 2024 is take control of the team, build connection with your wideouts, and get the ball out quick and just run the offense. Go through your progressions, get comfortable with the speed of the offense because you're going so non-stop. Then once the season rolls around, I think it was good that Nico got his feet wet. Nico got his feet wet in the bowl game, and he played some spare change, had some spare time, time that he played when Milton was a starting quarterback this year. But now that you're the guy, and now that you have this experience, like I think you have your feet wet. You have some experience. I think you should be able to roll into 2024. And, what does it look like for Nico to live up to expectations? I don't think he has to have a Heisman season this year. I think if he has a good season, a solid season, but still has room to improve, that's a successful season. That's sure he could go out and light on fire and be all world. That's absolutely a possibility. But if I'm a Tennessee fan, if I'm a SEC fan, just keeping up with quarterbacks in general, a successful season is being more accurate than Milton, pushing the ball downfield a bit more than Milton. But you don't have to have like a Hendon Hooker type season where you had 31 touchdowns with 3 picks, right? So I think there's a lot of room for improvement for Nico. But at the same time, I think expectation-wise, I think you have to put fair expectations. So Tennessee fans, if you're watching this video, let me know what you think about Nico. What's your expectation for the season in 2024? Now Tennessee's schedule is not nearly as tough as Oklahoma's and Florida's, right? Like those are some pretty tough schedules. We're going to talk about Oklahoma in a second with Jackson Dart. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below, because I think he actually could have a favorable schedule compared to other SEC teams. Again, Nico, one of the most hyped up quarterbacks this offseason, and rightfully so. The $8 million guy, and depending who or what recruiting website you kind of subscribe to, he was a number 1 or number 2 quarterback in his quarterback class.